Gohmert, welcome back. First of all, how are you?
Thank you. Doing all right, Greg. Thank you. And I'm so glad you're spending time on this story. It is critical that American people understand how bad and how unjust the Department of Justice has gotten.
You know, what the left will do right away is say, well, wait a second, you're not supporting law enforcement. Now, of course, we support law enforcement, but human beings are human beings. Corruption goes with human beings, and the FBI is named for J. Edgar Hoover. Anyway, listen, this is a lot. To be honest, I'm only a few pages into it. Give me some of the takeaways for you and the committee.
Well, we know that Mueller began the politicization of it. Even though he was appointed by George W. Bush, he went after Republicans like, Alaskan senator. He went after a Pennsylvania Republican congressman a couple of weeks before his election. So this has been going on. Comey continued that. And what we have gotten from FBI whistleblowers are things that weren't going on in the 80s and 90s. And not until we got Mueller, Comey, and we got the FBI director named Christopher Wray. He, in fact, was quoted back in 2005 as saying he wanted to be wherever Comey and Mueller were. He was a Mueller-Comey wannabe. That should tell you plenty. But some of the whistleblowers' information have made clear things like when this Department of Justice condemns Trump for not having adequate security on documents, well, actually, I would submit that confidential, top secret documents regarding what the FBI has been doing wrong and political over the last 6 years is a lot safer with Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago than it is on the 7th floor of the FBI building.
Yeah.
We had one whistleblower that said the SCIF, the compartmentalized facility where you go in to talk about our most secret information, and especially the director and assistant directors own floor, their own SCIF. Well, a whistleblower said people are taking phones in. The deputy director took phones in, their smartwatches, all these things that any of us that ever go in SCIFs know you can't take in there. Well, anybody that's half decent hacking has hacked everything that is said and done in the top floor of the FBI office.
Congressman?
But they initially said that didn't happen, and then two people that are their job is to analyze SCIF said, oh, yeah, it happens constantly. It is not secure.
It's pretty wild, though. Whistleblowers, when they're not leftists, when they're not attacking conservatives or corporate America, they are ignored. They are brushed aside. Yep. But if they should attack the other side, whistleblowers from the left, they're heroes. They're on the cover of Time Magazine, Person of the Year. You're probably going to be in the majority in 2 months. This report, what happens next? What can you do? How is it going to change? What can you get done when you're in the majority? What do you want to do?
We start having hearings, bring in people that are whistleblowers that are willing, at least bring in the testimony, and start drilling and grilling those people that have been violating the law, violating procedures. I mean, one whistleblower was punished for refusing to make his agents sign false affidavits so that the DOJ could arrest two conservatives. And they said, we can't swear to that. It's a lie. And then they said his boss had to make them sign it. And when the boss didn't, they punished the boss and moved him out. It started at the head, but that rot and corruption has spread all over the place. And so we have got to go after it everywhere it is. And Greg, I really think we may need to create a new federal law enforcement entity, have a commission that examines current FBI agents and makes sure that anybody that goes into the new bureau can be trusted and is not a political animal like we've seen for recent years. It's very, very dangerous for Americans.
We're going to have to change the name. And I saw some folks on social media suggest maybe put it outside of Washington, D.C. Perhaps that could help. Look, the media, they're convinced that the FBI is unassailable. I mean, that it's just perfect. Listen to this, please.
Republican attacks on the Department of Justice and the FBI intensify, prompting fears that rhetoric could turn to violence.
These attacks against the most important federal law enforcement agency in America.
Less than 24 hours after a peaceful search that they gave them a heads up on.
Peaceful search.
The former president and his allies are escalating their attacks on the FBI, claiming without any evidence that the investigation is politically motivated.
These attacks on the FBI are just very sort of out there and outlandish.
Every person out there attacking this is essentially attacking non-politicized and independent law enforcement.
You know, the indignation that they're expressing, I think, is so anti-democratic. The FBI, their employees, they weren't elected. These are bureaucrats, by definition, Federal Bureau of Investigation. This is a democracy. They work for us, not the other way around, sir.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And this FBI, that's who I'm hearing from. FBI agents currently, former FBI agents that are livid with what these political animals have done to what was a very noteworthy and acclaimed law enforcement entity in the 80s and 90s. But they're embarrassed. Some of them contact me and say, you remember how things were in the 80s and 90s when you were a lawyer and a judge? They have destroyed that. That non-politicalization has become politicalization. And it's got to stop. And so there's got to be hearings, and we can't take no for an answer. We got to get down to the bottom of it and get rid of the corruption. It's destroying the country.
And I know you're going to look into Ashley Babbitt as well. We have not gotten the answers that we need when you're back in the majority, which will most likely happen. And anyway, Congressman Louie Gohmert, thank you very much again. Thank you for your service.
Greg, thanks so much. Thanks for the light you shine.
Oh, my goodness gracious. It's an honor. Thank you, sir. We'll be right back.